What's up, beautiful people? It's Mike James of P&Z Life Coaching, and I'm bringing you another episode of Black Business Booming. Listen, I'm going to encourage you, as always. I've been doing it at the end, but I'm going to encourage you now to like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. This was just a vision of mine to highlight Black businesses that are doing some amazing things, no matter what level they're at. You know, a startup, been in business for years, just to give that platform and to share this. You know, it's very trendy right now, but this has been something on my heart for at least about a year and a half. So I'm excited to have another awesome interviewee, another awesome person that, again, I know personally. I'm loving all of these episodes so far because it's been people who I know and I love and I trust. So without further ado, I want my beautiful guest to introduce herself and tell us a little bit about her.
All right. Well, I am Hannah Woods. I am the owner of Hannah Rachel Events, which is an event design and planning company. I'm currently in Charlotte, North Carolina, but I was born and raised in Alabama, Gadsden/Glencoe, Alabama. And I graduated from the University of Alabama at Birmingham. Go Blazers!
Go Blazers! Yes, I love it. I love all my connections so far. It's been a lot of now. I've had one international interview, but so crazy that international interview lives in the same city in the UK that I live in Alabama. So it's been some interesting connections that I've had, but of course, a lot of my Alabama people, and of course, just connections that I have locally. So you said Gaston, Glencoe area. So what high school are you repping?
Gaston High.
Gaston High. Okay. Yes. Cool. So Hannah Rachel Events, right?
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about when you started your business and what inspired you to do so.
I officially started in October of 2016, and it started as a hobby. Actually, it was just something that I love to do. I've been doing it since I was younger, as far as decor. So, like, my mom, she would be in charge of programs at church, and she would put me on her decoration committee, and I would
Right.
help her with her programs, and I just loved everything arts and crafts. So I had been doing that for a while just as a hobby. And then I believe when my sister, her baby shower, I planned that and did decor and did everything on my own. I created her invitations. I was in charge of the games. I decorated everything. And then I think at that point I was like, oh, maybe I can actually do this for real. So from there, I just decided to kind of give it a chance, and here we are.
Yeah, so that inspiration almost, it seems a lot of times a common theme, that inspiration was almost a passion, just something that was there, right?
Right.
That you decided to water. I encourage people all the time, pay attention to the seeds. I say, what, Mike? Pay attention to the seeds. It's the stuff that's planted already that you ain't got to go searching for. It's just a matter of, when am I going to water these seeds that's been there? So
right.
I love that, and even just going back to something you grew up doing. I think a lot of times it makes that whole path and that journey a lot easier when you're doing something that you love.
Yeah, I always say that if I could go back and start with this first, but I appreciate the path and the people I've met doing the previous thing that I was doing. Like it all happened the way it's supposed to happen. So
yeah, you just read me when you said that, because that sentence that you just said, if I could have started it before. However, like my background, is health and fitness, personal training world. So for 15 years, that was my thing. And I don't regret a single day of it, because I've met so many people that I'm still in touch with now that, refers me just from their experience with me then, me now being a life coach. But yeah, oh wow, that's so me. I so agree with everything with that one, because It's like
You even
go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, even my experience from my previous jobs, I can apply that to what I'm doing currently.
Right.
So.
Yeah, definitely. So with your business, what was one of the most challenging things in the formation of your business, or even starting? Like, taking it from, okay, let's say 2015 and before, prior, taking that from something that you like doing and that hobby to now I want to make it, a legitimate business. What was one of the biggest obstacles that you faced in getting started?
I believe I was my biggest obstacle. I was my biggest challenge, just getting out of my own head and getting out of my own way and just saying, I'm going to do this and try this, and not being scared to fail or not putting too much pressure on myself for it to be perfect. That was the biggest thing, because I feel like, especially for the planning side, there's not a lot that you necessarily need up front to start that. But just getting out of my own way and just saying, okay, I'm going to try this, was probably like my biggest issue. So once I got past that, then it wasn't too complicated to actually get started.
Yeah, I like that. It just reminds me, I think I just put something else out about that again in the last 24 hours about, your biggest competition is you, and when you learn how to check yourself, the rest is, is just a matter of doing. So yeah, that's huge, because it's that ego and it's yourself who always tells you, this ain't gonna be right. Ain't nobody checking for me.
Right.
So now, having the business established and you got started. So let's say now we're in the flow, maybe a few weeks, a few months. What are the day-to-day challenges that you face in running a business, or just being an entrepreneur, period? It can be relative to your particular business or just being an entrepreneur. What are some of the day-to-day challenges?
I think for me, especially, it's trying to produce content for other people to see so that they are interested in your business. We're so big into social media right now. And I feel like in the beginning years, when you're starting your business, you don't necessarily have that portfolio to like constantly show people, this is my work. So trying to come up with different ways to kind of market myself, and just to kind of go with the times, because it is big with social media. Even if I'm not that big of a social media person, I have to kind of adapt and adjust and just figure out a way for me to implement that into what I'm doing currently.
Yeah, definitely. Because it's so funny you say that, because it's almost like when you come out of college, you're fresh out of college, and they ask you for your experience. And you're like, college, that's my experience, man. I got a degree. And it's the same way when you're starting a business, because we know, as you said, that we're so heavily now into the digital world and social media presence, and so everybody is looking for, what do you have? What do you have to offer? And it's almost like your business or what you do, the merit is all based on what people can see.
Right.
So yeah, that's huge. And I think that's one of the challenges a lot of times for a lot of people, no matter how long you've been in business, because now you have to keep up with the times. That digital, that kind of information age, social media, thrust forward, affected businesses that's been in business for 20, 30 years, because it's now, okay, I got to do Facebook, Instagram, I got to have a LinkedIn. What is this?
Right.
So yeah, that's important, I think, for anybody. So now, talking about those challenges, let's flip that. What is the most satisfying, or some satisfying things of running your business and being an entrepreneur? What's one of the most satisfying things?
For me, the most important thing is whoever my client is, whoever hired me for whatever particular event, making sure that they are happy with how things turned out is the absolute most satisfying thing that I could name. It's nice for guests to come up and say that you did a good job, or for comments on social media, but for me, it's more important that whoever hired me, whoever gave me this vision, they're able to recognize and to compliment that it was executed well and that it met their satisfaction or beyond. So that for me is like the most satisfying thing. And sometimes just seeing the actual event to see where it started, and then you come into this room and it's completely transformed, or if everything went well and it was really organized, it's a win. It makes you feel good, like you're doing something right.
Yeah, I hope that people who watch these interviews and the Black Business Booming segment, that they go back to that question right there for everybody, because I think, you can be so much more successful as an entrepreneur when you're selfless, and you're meeting that need. It's what is that pain point that you're solving? And let's just think about any event. You're doing a baby shower, it's that pain point. Oh my God, who's planning it? What's the decorations going to be? What balloons and all this stuff? And so now they get with you and it's like, wow, you know what you made, and I'm sure you've heard this, you made it that much better,
Right.
you made me
Yeah.
smile. And so that's the important thing that I hope people see. And another reason of just doing these interviews and putting it out there, because I want people to know, not only the ups and downs, but some of the biggest satisfaction points from any entrepreneur. It's like, man, when I can meet the need of that client, boom,
Right.
now, I feel like all my work is, it's well worth it.
Right. You feel good. You're just like, oh man.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. And it's like that boost, right? It's like, okay, on to the next one. Let's go.
Right.
Especially if that next one is something difficult or a bigger event. It's like, okay, I got a little boost from this one. So let's do it. Let's knock it out. I love that. So your advice, what would your advice be for that person who they're either on the fence to start a business, they have that passion, they have that thing that they always did, they're that young woman, that young man who grew up watching this certain thing and now they want to go in business, or they're just starting out. What would be some advice that you would give for a new entrepreneur and someone that's wanting to start business or just started in business?
Some of the things that I've learned from that I mentioned earlier is to get out of your own way, get out of your own head. Don't be scared to fail. And also don't feel like you have to have it all figured out in the beginning, because it's going to change. The services that I offered when I first started are not necessarily the same thing that I offer now, because through experience, I'm able to see what works best for me and what doesn't, and what I like to do and what I don't. Because I feel like as a business owner, you have control. So you shouldn't have to provide services that you don't necessarily like just because it's popular. And I'm having to learn that too. So don't be afraid to have to change things around once you actually get started. And I also feel, especially for minorities and for women, check into your local government in your city, because I know here in Charlotte, there are resources to help. There are services that allow you to go in with your business plan and have somebody review it. They can give you recommendations on how to get contracts from the city. There's so many resources that people don't necessarily know about that is being provided by the government. And it just helps you to be able to have someone that guides you. And they may be able to point you in the direction of a mentor or someone else in your field that can also give you that assistance as well.
That's awesome. So kind of to add on to that, how important do you think it is? Because you mentioned something that doesn't come up often. People do it, right? Especially entrepreneurs, they do it, but it doesn't come up often. How important do you think it is to have a mentor?
Extremely important, especially someone that's willing to be kind of transparent and honest. Because I know, unfortunately, there are people who kind of help, but they kind of want to be reimbursed for it, or they want to charge you for it, and they don't want to necessarily help out of the kindness of their heart. I get it. We're all trying to make money, but I have to remember I was once in that position starting off, and I know how scary it is and how limited your resources is, especially financially, and you don't always have the money to pay someone to give you advice. But being able to find like a genuine mentor who's willing to help you is very important. Like, you can learn from their mistakes. They can go ahead and tell you what doesn't work. I mean, you can try it, but just for them to be like, how about this? Have you tried this? Have you looked into this? And from them to kind of recommend other people to you, a mentor is very important.
Yeah, definitely. I love that. And like you say, a lot of times it seems as though, it's like going to a restaurant. You get what you pay for. It's like a lot of times, man, when I'm starting out, I need steak, but you're
Right.
giving me Lunchables because I don't have, all this money to cough up to you. So yeah, I love that. And that's sound advice. It's so important to have that mentor. And then, you get to the point where you start to grow, and it's important to invest in yourself, right? There is more that you have to offer. So now I can get that steak dinner, something that's going to help further me along the way. But it's so important because you're learning from someone else's experiences and mistakes, a lot of things you don't have to go through, or at least they're directing you to the right people that can get you to that next level. So yeah, I love that. It just made me think of that when you said it. So yeah,
Right.
sound advice.
You may have to invest in your business. There may be a workshop that costs however much for someone that you like admire in the industry. And sometimes you may have to, when you're able to, just in the beginning, sometimes it's hard. But yeah, like you said, it's okay to invest in your company and in your business.
Yeah, definitely. So with everything that's going on, and 2020 has been a twilight zone of a year for us, right?
Yeah.
It's like this whirlwind. We'll all look back at 2020, and you're literally living through something that'll go down in the history books. You'll say,
Right.
yeah, I was there. I was there.
I'll just do it.
So what's next? What's next for you and your business? Anything, any news or anything like that? What's next for you?
Well, more events. Once we're able to figure out this whole situation, the event industry has taken a big hit just because you can't have so many people at one time. But definitely more events where I'm being asked to do the decor. Because when I first started, that was my first reason for starting my company was decor. And then I added on event planning because I wanted to be able to see from start to finish everything. But I want to be able to do more decor for events. And also, I have a heart to serve and to give back. And I do incorporate that when I list what services I provide. I'm able to do like nonprofit events and community service events, but I'm in the process of figuring out how I actually want to go about doing that. And if I want to blend it in with Hannah Rachel events, what I have currently, or if I want to try to separate and try to do some type of nonprofit organization. I'm just trying to figure out that part of it. But yes, I'm praying for more events to come eventually, especially when we pass all of this with the coronavirus.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Awesome. So I love that, that I'm, it's Hannah Rachel events, and it's like, what's next? Events. So yeah, definitely. That's the thing. I love that too, that process of, I think that's one of the benefits of being an entrepreneur and being a business owner, is that privilege. It is a privilege to be able to give back and to be able to do more and to be able to help other people along the way. I think that's a huge plus, one of those things that goes back with the satisfying part of being an entrepreneur, running a business. So yeah, that's awesome. So listen, I want you to tell everybody, take this time. This is your stage to tell everybody how they can find Hannah Rachel events, how they can keep up with you, see all the beautiful work that you do and what you put out. Let everybody know how they can find you.
You can find me. My website is hannahrachelevents.com. I'm also on Facebook and Instagram at Hannah Rachel Events. My website would probably be the best way if you're actually looking for more information about my services and you have an event already. You can just go to the contact page and I will contact you back after I receive that email.
Awesome. Awesome. So I'll definitely put that in the description below. I want y'all to make sure that you check out everything that she's doing. Just a beautiful, heartfelt, passionate presentation anytime Hannah Rachel Events is involved. So y'all definitely check that out. And thank you so much for doing this, for doing the interview. I really appreciate it. I think I was telling you earlier that I'm getting more and more people to do this. So, I was glad when I had to increase the frequency on publishing the interview. So thank you so much for your time and for spending some time with us.
Thank you for having me and for using your platform in this way to shine light on Black businesses. It's amazing to be able to give us this opportunity to reach different people. So I thank you.
Yeah, you are very welcome. And thank you all so much for tuning in to another episode. As always, remember, check out how you can follow and be connected with our guests that we have today in the description. And as always, like, share, and subscribe to the page, or I guess I should say like, subscribe, and share the page. And thank you so much. We'll see you next time on another episode of Black Business Booming. Peace.